Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is January 10th, 2021. Nerd. Were you a nerd in high school, Howard?
I was the most popular guy. Best looking, strongest.
Can anyone confirm that? Like your mama?
Yeah, they've all been swept away and hidden. We have a dark web to protect. What makes you think I wasn't popular?
I actually think you were. I'm sure you were funny. So
I don't think you're being serious.
no, I'm not. Why not?
I think there's an insult in there unpacked. All right, what's going on there, kid?
I mean, everything's going up.
Got to make hay. Well, a lot of people are mad at me. I just got called a permabull. Do you consider me a permabull?
I mean, you're definitely on the optimistic side, but a permabull, I wouldn't say so. You're like more an opportunistic trader. So
yeah, so there's a lot of mad. I feel like, I don't know. I look at, we do this every week. I'm like, I'd like to be negative. It's been a while. Like, I mean, sure hasn't paid to be negative.
I mean, almost everything's going up. Even the momentum stocks that kind of took a dive from the end of last year, even they bounced last week. For example, Editas Medicine and Nutera and Vita. So many of those that had a pullback later last year, even they had a decent bounce last year. Obviously, the big news was the big event was the Senate flipping blue, and it seems like the market was expecting that because the clean energy and the cannabis stocks were already running ahead of that event, so the market was kind of correct, and those moves only accelerated. I mean, Tesla is now bigger than Facebook. Elon Musk is
24% this year.
Yeah, it's insane.
I mean, 30 times sales, no competition.
And let me
no
show
competition.
A monthly chart. I mean, all the other electric vehicle stocks have also gone crazy. I mean, Tesla has doubled since it was announced that they're getting added to the S&P 500.
Really?
Months ago. Yeah, it was at 400. I remember because I owned it before that gap, and foolishly I sold it for for scraps for a tiny swing, and it just kept going. It's just look at this. This is the gap where they announced they're getting added to the S&P. So it basically doubled since then. So crazy.
It's probably most of the S&P because the rest of the FANG stocks have been like, I want to talk about the FANG because of the purging. Look at Amazon nowhere, and there's going to be, I think there's going to be a couple of weeks of reckoning for the big cap based on kicking off the GLP. There's going to be. It's hard to make money when they're in the headlines every day. Google is starting to act well. We'll see what happens. Twitter.
All of them are setting up. Apple, Amazon, Google, all of them are setting up. I don't know if they'll continue like a couple more weeks sideways, but they're setting up for a breakout as of right now.
No, not Facebook and not.
Yeah, not Facebook, yes.
And not Twitter now. Facebook looks really weak, and now they signal. If we pull back up Facebook.
Okay.
I mean, what's interesting here is everybody's got an opinion, of course, but what's interesting here is the price action. And Signal was the #1 app in the App Store, which is kind of like the new WhatsApp. So a lot of people are leaving Facebook. They're going to take the data. They're turning WhatsApp into more of their e-commerce ordering customer app. So we'll see. I mean, there's the money is not in the FANGs right now. The money is moving around. Like the S&P, there's energy. There's just some boring companies actually making moves.
Yes, I mean, it's kind of hard for most of those FANGs to make 20% weekly move, even though Tesla did. But there's so many other areas there.
Well, let's talk about gaming. So you've got Activision breaking out because gaming is you got the Roblox IPO coming. So I think this sector is one to watch. So you've got Activision, you got Take-Two breaking out. You have Zynga, like on the verge. It's a stock that I own.
Yeah, it's looking great.
One of my under 10 stocks. I mean, this thing is poised if it can, close above a 10, $11.
Good.
To really, no earnings announced, no earnings. But I mean, that's one of the old original social media ones. And so gaming, and then Nerd is the ETF for gamers, because then you have Unity software. I'm using Nerd as my proxy because I don't game. But you have Unity, you have SEA. U is the ticker.
Which one?
Unity software. U, just the letter U.
U is a company.
Unity software, yeah. It's kind of gaming, and then SEA. I think it's SEE or S.
Yeah. That's the Hong Kong based one. Yeah. Singapore, yeah.
Yeah. So gaming's interesting. What else looks in? Wow.
I mean, everything interesting because inflation expectations seems to be rising. So last week we saw a big jump in interest rates. U.S. Treasuries had a big drop here, which helped financials. Financials had one of their best weeks in a while. Again, I mean, their best week since the post-election gap here.
Yeah.
Energy stocks also breaking out after Saudi Arabia announced that they're cutting their output. So definitely inflation expectations rising. I mean, you've seen the big moves in copper and in steel. Yeah. Definitely you can make the argument that inflation expectations are rising here. Even the fertilizer stocks breaking out.
Yeah, U.S. Steel, Exxon.
So yeah,
what about look at Exxon? Yeah, I mean, inflation. I mean, I was filling up my car. It was $2 a gallon. XOM. Yeah, look at U.S. Steel. Wow. So just on news that Trump's leaving, we finally get the first kind of bump in all these things. Very interesting. Maybe there'll be an infrastructure plan, Ivan.
Yeah, also the infrastructure stock ETF. I think what was it? IFRI, I think. Also breaking out.
Okay, well there you go.
So yeah.
They're going to spend, maybe there's just going to be a huge, maybe in his first 100 days, he just says, listen, we're rebuilding airports.
Yeah, exactly.
Caterpillar, Yeah, I was looking at this thing, Fastenal, FAST, and which is like supplies to plumbers and stuff.
That's great, yeah.
Great breakout, FAST. I mean, can you go to a weekly on them? All right, that's a nice uptrend. Okay, so gaming, some inflation-driven expectation stocks. How are the home builders looking?
Not too great, but they're just, building a base, kind of. So it's not looking bad. I mean, they're setting up for a potential breakout here. On a weekly, they're just building a base, so sideways. So one of these days, they're going to break out above 60, and they're not going to look back.
What's amazing is all this money coming out of the FANGs a little bit, and not a lot, like it's rotating, and look at the small caps move. It doesn't take that much when you have those trillion-dollar companies and they sit still. So it's up 30% since October. That's an index.
Yeah, since that big gap on the election.
30%. I mean, that is breadth. So being accused of a permabull in January, I don't know. I'll take that moniker. They're supposed to be bullish. I mean, you got to make hay while the sun's shining. This is when there's so many great moves. I mean, the SPACs, you got genetics, biotechs, gaming, like you just said, infrastructure stocks. I don't know.
Stocks are also breaking out or kind of setting up drafting.
Well, guess what? I mean, if New York approves gambling, like what? I mean, Biden can say, I'm going to raise taxes, but Jack, spending on infrastructure and legalize weed and gambling, and the market, just rotate. There's enough growth in those sectors
Yeah.
to eat the tax increase. He's going to come after big tech. You can just feel it. I mean, it's easy to gang up on Zuckerberg here. He's an unlikable guy. He's not going to lose any fans going after Facebook. I think Facebook's the one that's in the sights of all the fangs. It looks the weakest.
Do you own any Facebook?
I do. It's part of my 8 to 80, but I'm really like,
Are you hedging?
What's that?
Are you hedging it anyway if you're not that good?
No, I mean, it's just one of 15 positions in that. I mean, what's so interesting about this market I wrote about this week is you got Goldman Sachs at all-time highs and Bitcoin. So it's like old and new. Makes no sense. Okay, so one thesis I have, and this weekend all the crappy shit coins are running.
Oh yeah, they'll be running for a while though. Definitely.
Zcash and Bitcoin Cash. They're all like
the small ones. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, and with Twitter kicking off Trump, I think there's going to be, wow, I never thought that would hold this Riot blockchain. So they're kind of like a holding company now, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they own some crypto and they're just.
Anyways, I tweeted this weekend, now's the time for someone to create a decentralized. Now would be the moment, with AWS kicking off Parler and Twitter kicking off Trump.
What took them so long to build something like this? I mean, that technology.
It doesn't. If there's no user live and no one's going to use it, no one wants to be the first to go start another network, right? So you're only going to move. If you got to go pay each time you go into the blockchain deposit, $1,000 to start using a website every time you go to it or an app, you're going to only go if there's an audience there. You're not going to go and be an explorer.
Maybe not $1,000, but maybe 2 cents, something like this.
No, you know what I'm saying. But you're going to have to deposit money, and each time you use it, a penny comes out or whatever. But what I'm saying is, until there's an audience there, you're not going to go. So, but behind the scenes, there's going to be hundreds of companies trying to replicate the centralized Twitter and Facebook. So
yeah, they have the money now.
Yeah, the money's over there, and now the interest is there, and now the users don't have a home. All the crazies that Twitter's kicking off need a home.
Well, let me ask you: is President Trump banned on stock tweets too?
We've had a lot of crazies like just acting like him, and just this weekend. So I was talking to Tommy, and I don't know, it's not funny. People think they're funny, and I find it very not funny. So yes, obviously traffic has been surging, but it's not just because of Trump. It's interest in the market, and sentiment remains, rightly so, very bullish. Even the Chinese stocks are rallying, Ivan.
Oh, yeah. Such big moves last week. I mean, not Alibaba, but everything else.
Yeah.
We don't even know where Jack Ma is. You just see.
It's really creepy that no one cares. Well, no one cares. The markets don't care. NetEase up, Tencent rallied back, PDD, Duo. It's like a 5-year-old company. It's like $1 trillion. It's just hard to believe.
A lot of them, yeah, definitely looking good. All the so-called Chinese Robinhood.
Was that the Chinese Robinhood? So smart. Why didn't I play that?
Tiger is the cheap one.
FUTU? Yeah.
But Tiger is kind of, I mean, it's not free, but they just charge a lot less than the other options there. So
yeah, I don't want to yell out $10 names, but yeah, I've seen some penny stocks in Canada going up that are Coinbase, kind of like saying they're the Coinbase of Canada. So there is a lot of exuberance, right? But if you look at the S&P, you do not see that. So there's a lot of breadth, and with breadth and with this many people involved, you get this froth. And right now it's pretty contained to SPACs. And I think, Biden comes in and there's going to be some he's got the Senate, the House, and he's got 100 days to get some shit done. So I think you're seeing it with energy. I think you're going to see it I think the first big thing is attacking, is getting their stance on where they are with the FANGs, right? Are they going to tax them? Someone's got to pay for all this stuff. So it's going to be weed, gaming, like gambling, energy, interest rate sensitive stuff, infrastructure. So, all right. All
A lot
right.
of things moving and
You've got a
setting.
lot of ideas. You got there's a lot of good stuff, I would imagine, right? You're looking completely on the long side right now.
I mean, mostly because I mean the market's rising, so the odds are on the long side. Obviously, I know that it's not going to be sunny every week, and as we saw last week with the events in the capital,
Yep.
we saw that big rug pull, but overall, it just pays to be long and bullish and optimistic right now. So.
Yep, right now. It'll change. It always does, but we will check back in next week. Have a good week.
You too, Howard.